Keep moving along.
We are moving, geez.
See that around her neck? The one with the beautiful eyes and thick curly hair that bounces playfully from her shoulders. Why are you looking at me like that? The one that really wanted to kill us.
You keep staring at me like that, I'll poke your eyes out. You and your slack-jawed friend.
Quick, look away! She's wearing a talisman, just like mine.
Excuse me, sir. We found this lot in the tunnels.
Why, hello there. I apologise for the rough treatment, but everyone's a bit jumpy at the moment. Seems the whole world wants a piece of our little haven right now. But you don't look like raiders, or battalion, or those bloody socialists.
We're most certainly none of those things.
Good enough for me. Make yourselves at home. Take a stroll through the bazaar, maybe. Trade is the hallmark of any civilization, after all.
Wonderful. Don't mind if we do. Come now, let's see what wares are on offer. Civilization is overstating it a bit. This might be the only place where we're overdressed in our current attire. Did you see where that woman got to? No, me either. I'll have to keep our eye out for her. I think having a look around might be a good idea, though. Might give us a clue on how to get back. While we walk, I shall continue with the Noobs at Large.
Okay, and welcome back to the LARP proper of Blind Dogs.
Oh man, this is super exciting. So, not going and also assisting you with some of the crafting in terms of just giving you advice and stuff that I've done, and we just went back and forth on so much stuff before you went. I got super hyped about the fact that you were going.
Man, people were hyped for me. Good Dave,
yeah,
he was hyped for me.
So exciting.
Bungle was hyped.
Well, especially you started posting pictures up of obviously the work you've been doing. I mean, obviously see the pre-LARPing part for more on all of this, but this information was so slowly feeding to us all. I think we were just getting super...
Well, I was just so bubbling with excitement before going that it was and obviously going to a new LARP, going with people I necessarily haven't been just LARPing with them.
Yeah.
There was some nerves going along with it.
Did it kind of remind you of when you went first time to Empire, in terms of the emotional
some aspects, a lot, yeah, definitely. I think it's just the unknown and not finding your place. I think there's something when you're trying to find your place in LARP and you're trying to find something to RP with.
Dude, it's like that bit when you go to a school, right, a new school.
Yeah.
Right, it's that emotion.
And also, Blind Dogs, you got the feeling that a lot of people knew each other, right? There's a lot of more experienced LARPers who are good friends with each other and they're going to go and LARP together.
Yeah.
So there is an element that you kind of feel you're coming into a world that's, already existing. You know. We should talk about some of the setting before Blind Dogs before we really jump into it, because I'll be referencing these people. I don't want to slow down while doing it. So Blind Dogs, we went over this briefly in the pre-LARP. I'll just quickly barrel through it now. It's about 40 years after the end of civilization as we know it. There's been but it wasn't like a flash. It went out in a whimper, you know what I mean? It's lots of little things happened and eventually society just fell apart. It's based on the Metro books, so it's kind of underground, dark and gritty, but it's set in just outside Birmingham, where we actually did go to LARP, right?
Yeah.
There are different factions that kind of make up the world,
okay,
and they kind of control havens, they're called, and havens are they're safe areas where people live. So there might be a tube station or whatever, you know what I mean? A lot of...
Is it kind of an underground Mad Max kind of...
Underground Mad Max is a really good way to put it, but
almost punk Mad Max or something?
So the book's Metro, because it's a Russian book, it's extremely fatalistic. Okay, and I think that's something they really tried to do at Blind Dogs with the nature of the combat system and everything else going on, and the perpetual darkness and the need for batteries and light.
Well, because this is one of the things you told me that you get, as you say, you get shot, you're shot.
Yeah,
and
you get
death. Therefore, must be really quick.
Well, we'll get to this, and there's a lot of gameplay stuff that I'm going to go into.
Okay,
and one thing I should really point out before we even start this is. The clue is in the title of the podcast with the LARP noobs, right? We don't know much about LARP. If anything I say sounds critical, it's perfectly from my point of view, and probably should be taken even the good stuff I say should be taken with a pinch of salt, right? Because we're new to this and it's a new experience. So
as you said before, this is pretty much when you listen to these, what you're getting is our experience, right? And I think that all has to be taken with results may vary.
Yeah, absolutely. But for a team that I think for most of them it was their first time setting up an event, it was pretty pro. Right, so it was located at they basically booked out this place called the Grange Live.
Okay.
And the Grange Live is basically they do like airsofting there. They do I think they do some HEMA stuff there. They do a whole bunch of like, it's basically like 4 or 5 floors of this tower block building, you know.
Okay, so it's actually pretty big then.
Oh, it's fucking huge, right? It's like it's a big venue. They booked out like 4 floors or whatever.
Okay.
How many floors? 3 floors? How many is it? 2 to 4. Yeah, so 3 floors. And each floor was enormous.
I tell you what, when you said that it was indoors as well, I was like, that's going to make the experience a lot better because we're in the UK and the weather right now is not the kind of stuff that you would want to be out in.
But there's no heating.
Right.
So it's dry.
Sure.
But it's freezing ass cold.
Right.
Right? Like that's the point. So going there, so getting there, got all my shit, parked in a local car park, hauled most of my stuff up there, immediately greeted by someone who was really, really helpful, who basically like said, here's the deal. As that's happening, Callum and Tom show up by coincidence.
Awesome.
So I helped them unload their mountain of shit.
Right.
Oh my God, they had so much stuff with them, you know. So we all unpacked this stuff. And then we head up there, and there's that pre-LARP kind of hype. Where did I put it? There it is. Thanks. There's that pre-LARP hype where you're going, everyone's kind of excited, there's a buzz in the air, and you're like, I don't know, there's a nervous excitement in the air, you know? So
I think as well when you start seeing kit, like a little flash of kit, all of a sudden it's LARP time. It's getting close now. It's real. In a moment, that guy's going to be wearing that.
So Longbridge was on level 4, okay? The town area, okay?
Okay. Do you have to do you take stairs to get up?
So there are stairs, but they had a big fuck off lift that we just piled all our shit into and then lifted it up and then took all the stuff
You can
out.
use that in game?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
No, players can't, but other people can.
Okay.
So, we didn't anyway. I don't know whether we could or not. So we unload, and basically you're presented with... Remember I was describing the vault in the first episode, where it was like a room, but it's full of chipboard and fake rooms?
Yeah.
That's what the town looks like.
Okay.
And it's lit at the moment because there are lights on. Okay. So we're walking around, and basically it's find your pitch, right? So we walked around, we looked at a few different places. We saw one place that was a bit deserted, and went, no, we'll move to a different place in case you can't remember. And we found this little hovel of a room, Ian. It was like, it was just like a little... It was near the elevator.
Okay.
Which was a mixed blessing, as you'll hear later on. But so we're like unpacking our stuff. I've bought like the cheapest little one-man army tent in the entire world. Because I'm like, at some point I'm going to need just a tiny modicum of personal space.
Yeah.
I can zip that zipper up and just... The world outside can go fuck itself for a few minutes while I just,
get
my shit together, I bought with me so much like bedding stuff. I bought like my yoga mat. I bought a couple of sleeping bags, and I bought a double duvet.
Nice.
I really decked my stuff out because it was very cold at night. This is February, so it was like the bathrooms were like 2 floors down.
They had hot water, right?
They had hot water. They had a kettle. They had hot water. Actually, you know the things that you get at offices.
Oh yeah. They just dispense boiling water kind of.
And they had a microwave.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So there was kind of a meaties, but they were basic. You know what I mean? Very basic. But it was nice to have. There were no shower facilities, but I mean it's LARP.
It's LARP.
You know, whatever. Basically, the way I figured it was you're camping indoors is the way I'll describe it. Right? Like make sure like in February you're wrapping up warm.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like the microwave. I basically just I was quite conscious of that. I kept on wanting to I wanted to eat hot food.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, just to maintain energy and not be, So I was kind of on that. But the guys I was with, they were eating out the cans like proper savage hobos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nice.
So I met Tom, who was the other guy who I was there with. We immediately got on. Like, he's a really nice guy. And we kind of had a bit of a powwow about our characters. Oh, I should also mention, like, my character's name was Duke.
Right.
Which I don't know why I came up with that name. It seemed to make sense at the time. But when you introduce yourself as Duke to people, I suddenly realised that's a terrible name. I can barely say the name Duke. And people were going, Duke with a J? And I was like, Duke with a D, right? And people were like, what? And it's just like, I should have picked a different name. I'm stupid. I'm a stupid person. So Callum was Panda. Okay. And Callum had, like, his shit looked pretty legit, right? Like, he's got the big harness on. But he's also got a giant, like, mascot head panda.
I saw a photo of this, and I think you posted
it's on the
Facebook group. It looks amazing.
It's the stuff of nightmares, like, and because it's got a little smiley face, but it's all like post-apocalyptic up. It fucking awesome, right? Like, what a great idea for a costume.
And does he like wear that all the time?
Well, we'll get to that, but he basically, the visibility in low light, not fantastic. He was fine if I was walking in front of him and he had like a real, gauge on what was going. As soon as you left him to his own devices, he was literally turning around and wondering where the hell he was. It was hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
So amazing. Tom played a guy called Monty.
Okay.
Yeah, Monty is
I instantly like Monty.
I like Monty a lot. So Monty is a light. What's it called? A light bringer? A light something? He's basically a guy who can help make lights happen. So he's a very valuable asset.
So is this, just to go into this, is this like a magic skill? Is this
no,
like we're talking
he's
like
everything? There's no magic in the group that I was aware of anyway.
But are there classes in some way?
No, it's all just it's rule light, right?
Okay, yeah.
So everything's like if you can do it, you can do it.
Okay.
If you want your characters to do it and you can plausibly pull it off, then do it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Which genuinely terrified me as a concept, but seeing what other people did with it was like really impressive. Like, it was fucking cool seeing everyone.
And so he had made up this kind of this role of being the Lightbringer.
Yeah. So think of him like he had a bowler hat on.
Okay.
Right. And he was like, if you think of like, in those, I can't remember which Wild West movie it is, but the British snake oil salesman in the Wild West that rolls into town and, oh, hello, and he's all very well educated, but he's a charlatan at the same time. If you leave your wallet out, he'll nick money out of it. Is that sort of guy. So we were basically talking about it, like about who we were and how we knew each other, and basically like Monty's the money bringer,
right?
And me and Panda are kind of like his kind of like grey-ish, like companions, but we all kind of like laugh and joke and a bit fatalistic about death and kind of laugh at stuff. Sure. And it's all like, just kind of like he's a panda head for fuck's sake, and you know what I mean, like I'm kind of anyway, like, so our bond was kind of like a
uneasy alliance.
Okay, almost. So we're all about like, we're adventure capitalists is what we called it.
Okay.
We're adventure capitalists, okay? So we're always about trying to make some money out of whatever we're doing, right?
Okay.
A lot of talk about like, and when people ask us, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, well, we're pretty good at taking a thing from one place to another place, or going to get a thing if someone else has a thing and bringing it back, or whatever is the adventure and profit is in it, then we'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and we named ourselves the Hovel Company.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were kind of this little like ragtag band type thing. And bear in mind, they were like, so like the political landscape of Longbridge is, there was a bar, which is like a hub area where everyone can kind of congregate, and that's run by what people call the big boss man, because he's not, but that's what his staff call him. He's got like 2 staff. Sure. And he's like
and
the
these
wise
are
guy.
NPCs, yeah?
They're all NPCs.
Okay.
NPCs and players would merge, right?
Okay.
So sometimes the town would be deserted, and then slowly people would start filling up. But I have no idea who everyone in the town is. So really trying to get a gauge on like who the fuck anyone is and like the populations and who you're talking to.
That's cool though, right?
Are they an NPC or are they a player? Honestly, I was talking to some people and I was like, oh, they're an NPC. No, they're a player, and vice versa, right? So you get like...
That's cool.
So you get the Church of Saint Debbie, which is it's a gun cult. Okay. So it's like they're the ones that kind of like can make black powder and ammo.
Okay.
Which is the lifeblood of any good haven, right? To ship bullets out and just defeat like the aggressors towards it. And they're kind of like, they worship they have like pictures of different women holding different firearms.
Okay.
And then they call them like Saint whatever that weapon is. There was twins, and they were called Saint Kilash and Koff or whatever. I can't remember.
Okay, yeah, nice.
It really badly. And they had their own room with like shotgun shells all over the floor, and it's like this kind of like pseudo kind of like mythology about firearms.
Right,
and
that's
death.
cool.
And they're like all really pro, like they're not a big fan of the medics.
Right.
I think like death is the
Yeah.
ultimate thing, you know, like it's a good thing if people die. Yeah, who else is there? There's the Ratniks. The Ratniks, I think that's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
They are a group of 4 or 5 Russian like bastards who are like they've got like riot shield and they're fully teched out with armor.
And they're NPCs as well.
I think they were players, but a lot of the stuff they did was kind of NPC-ish.
Right.
So I think they were kind of a blur between the two. Like, they were definitely involved in a lot of story and had like skills compared to me. Like, they can do anything effectively. Okay. You know what I mean? Right. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was. I think they were players, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
Who else was there? So you had the church, you had the bar, you had the Ratniks.
How does currency and stuff work?
Okay, so everything's batteries.
Okay.
Right. So
do you get given a certain amount?
Yeah. So when we first got there, there was I should get through. First of all, everyone like settled in, and there was a really good safety briefing and like a chat, and that's when you really, for the first time, I saw all the different organisers come together, or orgs.
Yeah.
Right. Noob tip organisers are called orgs. Okay. And there were like 5 or 6 of them, and they all had different heads, you know what I mean, different hats. That like one guy was the story guy, one guy was the like the airsoft guy. They all had different bits that they had put in towards it.
Sure.
And it was definitely like I don't think they're professional. I think this is like a side project for them, and it's the sheer volume of work that must have gone into arranging this, and how professional it was when I actually got there was really impressive. And there was actually one thing on the Saturday night that I'll talk about, but really demonstrated how they were good and had thought things through and got things right.
Nice.
So safety briefing, got to talk to a few different people that were there. Where are we at now? The guns. They had this thing called Chrono. I think it's Chrono, which is a thing to test how fast your air BBs go through the air.
Yeah.
So you get like a long queue of people all holding stuff. Like they look like they were like about to like defend Cuba against the Americans. Like this range of different weapons and stuff. It was pretty cool. Everything's semi-automatic in these places. You can't fire full automatic.
Okay.
For safety reasons. But basically, I got my little gun, and there was a BB shoved in the barrel that I hadn't noticed, so that wouldn't fire. The guys at the Grange Live gave us some stuff, helped us fix it, managed to get a pokey, really helpful, right? Like, really helpful. The magazine is basically, the gas is in the magazine. Okay, and the BBs are in the magazine.
Right.
Tried to fill it up with gas, and then you heard it go, and then went,
oh no.
Yeah, dude. So I'm like, no, we don't have spare guns and shit. It's just like what we've got. Anyway, fuck around for a little bit, and that's when we clear the barrel. And then try the gas again, and magically the magazine works again. It's sealed up.
Okay.
Yeah, and it felt like, because this was all new to me, but it felt like there's a lot of like weird voodoo, like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes your gun works, sometimes it doesn't. Like, and basically, Callum was basically telling me like it's a really fucking old gun. You know what I mean? Like it's old. It's not meant to be alive anymore. But the old girl came back to life again. It was fantastic.
That's amazing. That's really good news.
So yeah, the safety guys were really, really professional. Eye protection when you walked in. Shoot for a thing. They tell you how fast it goes.
Is it basically that the town is like a no combat zone?
No.
Right, so you've got to have eye protection on all the time then?
24, well, not 20, sorry, that's, how do I even start? That's no, not 24 hours a day. So, time in in the morning anyway is 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And then time out is 10 o'clock in the evening.
Right.
That's for guns.
Okay.
And the RP reason for that is that people get drunk in the town and then they shoot each other.
Sure. So it's
we
not
go
loud.
down.
Yeah.
But basically, okay. So yeah. So actually, I'll talk about it now. So actually, no. Let's go through. I'll go through the start of how it all actually began.
Sure.
Right. So we get our weapons tested. I get I brought my raggedy axe and my raggedy shield with me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
you had a melee sort of set of weapons.
Yeah,
as well.
so the shirt I used to wrap the EVA foam in, I used that to wrap around the top of my axe, so it looked like it was kind of bindings on it.
Nice.
So it hid some of the kind of like more fantasy aspects of the weapon and just looked like a kind of raggedy ass axe with it on.
Yeah.
And I also put some rust paint on it.
Nice.
Which looked really good on fabric.
Okay.
And then, so I brought them along. Safety checks, the usual, pretty good, pretty thorough. And then came to time to have time in.
Right.
All the lights, boom, 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 and you're just plunged into darkness and atmosphere.
So is it basically just the lights that you as players have brought along?
Yeah. Well, the bar area has a couple of lights, but they're dependent on RP things. Okay. So those lights might. But we're not talking lights. We're talking
like bulbs and stuff.
Dim fairy lights.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Very dark, all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Wow.
The dark is instant RP. It's really oppressive, right? It was an immediate change in atmosphere. Went from like a bunch of people setting up for a LARP weekend to something very different, and it's cold as balls.
Yeah.
Right. Even I'm wearing all the kit. It's still really cold, and it's like the cold and the dark were a character in their own right.
Yeah.
Like they should have a paragraph themselves explaining who they were and what they had to do with blind dogs, because they were that like part of the story.
Was it the Russians say they have like General Winter, who is like an actual figure on the battlefield? Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, like it's a real. It saps the strength out, it sucks the spirit out of you. You know what I mean? Like it's rough. Right. So yeah. So I'm like wandering around. Like we kind of go, oh, let's head to the bar area.
Sure.
Right. That's kind of where
communal point.
That's kind of where these kind of things start. Right. So.
What kind of stuff, just before you go into that, like, because we were talking about the economy of the place and stuff. So what stuff
batteries.
as a player pack do you get?
There's a couple of things about the economy I should talk about. The batteries are the currency, and depending on the size of the battery is like how valuable it is.
Nice, that's a cool idea.
But players were encouraged to bring their own like swag and loot to the event. So,
but you couldn't bring your own batteries, I'm assuming.
No, all the batteries in game were in game, unless the ones that you bought for your actual
stuff,
right?
Yeah, sure.
So I bought noodles, but I left most of the noodles that I was going to trade with in the car, and just had the ones I was going to eat. So I kind of traded some at some point in the weekend, but basically there was a bar, and you could put your drinks behind the bar, and then RP with them to get your drink.
That's a cool idea.
It's a cool idea, right? It kind of freaked me out at first. So I'm like, I don't want to drink, I want to fucking drink. But in practice, brilliant. And in fact, we were never sure for what we did for our haven.
Yeah.
We never needed to buy a drink.
Nice.
Just through the nature of like us RPing and like, oh, we'll do this for you, but what's it worth? And he goes, I'll give you a free drink, a couple of drinks at the bar, and he'll be like, make it 6, and then we'll call it that, whatever. And then you'll do something else, and then it'll be even more drinks because you've just helped them out even more. You know, it's like it's a cool concept.
That's a cool idea.
But you're no drinking before 10 o'clock. Right. There's no airsoft and booze.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing leading into it, because you were kind of like, I need a little bit of alcohol sometimes, and it does help.
It makes
a little
me sound
bit,
like a fucking alcoholic, but it certainly isn't the case. But at LARP, like a little bit of lubrication definitely helps the LARP, right?
Yeah.
It does.
But you can see why with airsoft and stuff,
it's
obvious.
totally not viable. It's not safe. It's eye goggles had to be worn all the time. Oh, I should talk about this as well, right? So I had they were metal mesh goggles. And putting them on at home was fine. Put them on, felt fine. They were a little bit tight in some areas.
Sure, I mean, you've got glasses as well, so...
Yeah, I've got glasses, right? So, but in the field,
they
were it was awful, right? It even started to make a bloody mark in the middle of my nose where it was pushing down. It after a couple of hours, it was unbearable, right? luckily, I spoke to Matt, one of the game orgs, because I'm cool, because I call them orgs. And he was like, don't worry, I got you. And went and got like these see-through, like literally, like science lab goggles.
Yeah.
Put those on. Suddenly, instead of having the mesh, I can now see clearly. They were an absolute game changer. The weekend would have been fucking terrible without that addition.
Do you have like some kind of band or something to hold them on with?
No, they were pretty.
They're pretty solid.
Yeah, they were excellent.
Yeah.
Like they were really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of saved my weekend, to be honest with you, because it would not have gone well without that. Right, so first things first, I went off and basically I spoke to the barman.
Yeah.
Right, as is,
Are there a lot of people
Dungeons
kind of
and Dragons
congregated at this
special?
point?
Well, people are kind of milling around and seeing what's going on, and there's that kind of like this fairly awkward.
Yeah, first
people
encounters,
are finding their place within this world, and all sorts of different costumes and characters are kind of appearing and kind of like interacting with each other, and everyone's kind of a bit of a chinwag. And then the rabbits came in.
The rabbits?
Yeah, the rabbits came in.
What are the rabbits?
Okay, so they're like, these are like NPC guys, but they're wearing like half-face rabbit masks.
Okay.
And they're like standing around. I'm like, oh, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome. Like really, really cool.
Is this like a faction or?
They're NPCs.
Okay.
They are...
But they're an NPC faction?
They're like bandits or like, like...
Bad dudes.
Bad dudes. But the barman's like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of like fobbing them off. And then these rabbits are like... They go downstairs. I'm going to be... if you're a game orgs, I'm really sorry for telling your story so badly. But
yeah,
they go downstairs and then they're like... Some of the organisers are like, maybe you guys should, go downstairs and see what's going on down there, So eventually some of us are like, yeah, let's go down there. So... Oh, my gun isn't working at that point for some reason. I can't remember what it was. Something was bucked with it.
Right.
So Callum said to me, "Oh, take my pistol."
Okay.
Right.
Nice.
So I grabbed his pistol and his holster, and
Cool.
I'm like, "Yeah, let's do this." I've got the pistol in the holster. I've got my axe and the shield in the other hand.
Nice.
And I'm like, "Let's fucking do this!" Right. I'm like so excited. Head downstairs, like one flight of stairs, and it's just like we enter the. Bear in mind, we haven't seen this yet, right?
Right.
So everything on the other levels I haven't seen, so it's all unknown.
Right.
And it's the same, like, jigsaw of rooms and corridors, and it's also pitch black.
Okay.
I've only got a headlamp on my... I've got two headlamps. One when I'm not wearing my helmet, and one for my helmet.
Yeah.
One thing I learned really quickly was the light should be on your weapon.
Right.
Because you can sneak up on people, turn the light on and start firing, right?
Okay.
The way I had it was I had to kind of poke my head around the corner and then turn my light on, and there's the light, what do you shoot at? The fucking light, right? So people are literally shooting...
At your face.
Well, it didn't work out that way, but...
But yeah, in theory, yeah.
So, we go down this little group, this nervy little team going downstairs to go and kill the rabbits.
Okay, so how many people are going down? Is this a fairly big group?
I think in the first wave of us, there were like...
It's broken into waves then?
No, it was broken. It was just a natural, who's up for going, okay guys, let's go! And it's all a bit piecemeal going down there.
Okay,
but the group
cool.
I was in was like maybe 6 or 7, something like that. And
you were the first group, or?
I've only got my pistol on me.
Right.
I don't have my shield.
Okay, right.
Okay, so or my axe. So we're heading down there, and we get to we're going down a little corridor, and then we get to a bit, and someone pokes their head around and goes, "Oh shit, we need a shield." Yeah, anyone got a shield? And I'm like, I've got a shield, just not on me. I left it upstairs, right? So I'm like, I'll be right back. So off I trod back up the stairs again. Like I go back down the corridor, run up the stairs again, and run back to the room that we're staying in, grab my shield and my axe, and I'm like running down there again. I'm like, but at the bottom of the stairs are the rabbits.
What?
I know. There's a group of fucking rabbits. So I walk downstairs really slowly, and they haven't noticed me, right? And they're in front of me. So I get my gun, and I'm like, "That's right, motherfuckers." Do you know what I mean? Like, time it down. And I'm doing this really quietly, and I'm just like, I pull the trigger, and it doesn't fire.
Oh no!
I know. So I'm like, the fuck? Like, I didn't say none of this out loud, but I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, fuck, the gun didn't work. So I couldn't get the gun in my holster, so I put it on the ground, got out the old axe, and I was like, come on! I remember. Do you know what? I had the disembodied head of Matthew Pennington floating around me, saying, "Drive it like you don't own it, or whatever. Drive it like it's you're renting it." And I was just like, "I gotta go for it." So I whipped out the axe and I just went, "Whoa, boom!" And I hit 2 of them on the leg. Right, like I went, bam, hit one guy, and I hit the other guy, and then one of them turned around and went, and fired a shot. Right. The shot hit me like just in my like thigh area on my left hand side, and I was like,
okay,
oh, and I went straight down like oh, like screaming and stuff. And then the rabbits all looked at me like, I think they were told not to kill us.
Right.
But those rabbits, in hindsight, all the bad things that really happened, not all of them, but a lot of the things that happened to me in hindsight were my fault. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Like, and they were like carrying out, and then they kind of carried on. And I'm like lying on the floor.
What happened to the 2 guys you hit with? I mean, like...
Oh yeah, they're on the floor crawling.
Right, because it's like legit...
It's old crazy. Boy, you know what I mean? Like just the savageness of everyone getting fucked up after a fight, you know? Like
so it's like the 3 of you guys are just incapacitated, basically.
Yeah, but there's like 3 other bunnies.
Okay, right.
So the other 2 are like crawling along with the rest of the posse trying to keep up, and I'm like, alright, get out of here. So I start crawling my ass up the stairs. And then I start yelling out for a medic, and I think someone then takes me for my first trip to the my first of many trips to the medical tent, the medical room, which is like. So
what happened to did the bunny guys get taken away to their own medic, or are they literally like carried off by their buddies, or are they just
their buddies helped them? I think their buddies helped them. I was more concentrating while I was
I know.
I was screaming and carrying on, and you know what I mean, like having a great time, right? I'm like, anyway, they take me. Someone carries me, I think, to the medical, and you know who was there?
Who?
The orc who read my fortune at Empire.
What?
Was one of the medics. Their name was, I want to call them by their name properly because it was cool, but Snow Hill.
Nice.
I think it's after a tube station or something, a train station.
Cool.
They had this outfit that was like had lights on it, and it was just
cool,
really cool, man. Like really like.
Are we talking like slightly Tronny, or are we talking like
kind of,
but like
shoulder pads?
Yeah,
is the memory I have.
So it's almost like power armor-ish.
No, I don't know.
Or
it's
more
hard
kind
to
of
describe.
ghetto than that.
No, it's kind of hard to describe. A lot more kind of like Star Trek Next Generation, more I'd say. You know.
Okay, what like Borgish?
I'm so sorry, by the way. I'm butchering this description, but like shoulder pads. It was like a cloth thing, but with like lights on. Like had like luminous lights on it.
Nice.
And it looked cool, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they get me in there. I'm carrying on, right, as per, and then they give me They give me gas.
Okay.
Which I'm like RPing with and stuff like this, and then I'm like, oh, I'm screaming, and they give me the gas, and then I reach into my little pocket inside of my vest, and I bring out my little hip flask, and I start drinking that. I think someone took it just to check it wasn't
actually booze.
It was just water, right? Yeah. So it's chugging it. So I'm like, I'm acting all drunk and stuff, and like having a good time and screaming every time they're doing it. And the medical team throughout the weekend, I got to visit them often, were really, really good. Like they always really put their all into it. They did the usual, are you okay with fake blood?
Nice.
They wrapped you up, like, and also like, let's face it, for a post-apocalyptic costume, more fake blood the better, please. You know what I mean? Just lather me up and dip me in a bath full of like fake blood, and I'll be happy. You know, it's awesome. All right, so they patched me up. I'm like hobbling back, and Panda's there, like RPing while I'm injured, right? And we're like kind of Cockney-ish.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you'll be alright, do you know what I mean? Like, just lemon, and like that. And I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah. And then, so then we go back down again. I'm like, I want to go shoot one of them in the leg. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
nice.
they shot me in that, I want to shoot one of them in the leg. Oh, yeah, and I said to Panda,
yeah,
your gun didn't whatever. Did you cock it? And I'm like, what? You have to cock it. And I was like,
so good.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's like something out of Snatch or Lock, Stock.
Can you imagine how happy I was? And I was just like, oh man, what an opening. Boom.
Blammo.
Fucking Jukes entered the fucking map, motherfuckers. Player 2 has entered the game and just...
Yeah.
I was just like, god damn it. And he had it's like a Uzi type thing.
Okay.
It's a single shot, but it's a really nice piece of kit. I was like, I would have murdered all of them.
Right.
Immediately. Yeah, so I go back down there, and things have developed significantly since last time I was there. There's a couple of rabbits down on the ground. One guy's like on the ground. He's like wounded.
Okay.
And there's another guy in one of the rooms in the darkness, and they're having a conversation with our guys who are outside, being like, let's trade. We'll give you your mate back if you come out and blah blah. And we're like talking to them like, oh no, you're gonna kill me. And I'm like, we're not gonna kill you. Just come out, all right? So Callum walks down. He's just like, oh, and he just gets his gun and just like, I'll come out, mate, play you out. And the rabbit comes out and he just goes, thump, thump, and like shoots him twice or whatever,
Nice.
and like kills him. And then I'm like, because I'm trying to explain to him, let's just shoot you in the leg and we'll let you go. It's only fair. You shot me in the leg. That was what I should have said before. But yeah. So there's this one guy who's wounded on the ground.
A rabbit
right?
or
a rabbit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you go shoot him in the leg. And I don't have my gun with me, so I'm like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll chop his leg off. So I have my axe. I hit him on the leg, and I'm like, ah, and he goes, ah, and then pulls up a pistol.
What?
Points it straight in my chest, and then fires. Bam, 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 bam. He must have fired 5 or 6 shots directly. I'm like, oh, like falling back, bring my shield up to kind of defend myself. And I hit the deck, and Panda's like, are you okay? And I'm like, you're running the plate. You're running the plate. And I'm going, I think I was crazy putting that plate on. Let me now put a plate on. Yeah, I mean, like, it was really funny. It was really... Where the guy brought this, like, tiny little fucking gun out of and just... You know what I mean? It's
Your
like,
face must have
been
been
a little... yeah, it was a little automatic pistol or whatever. Just so...
And I assume he's role-playing screaming.
Yeah, but all of us would like, this is amazing, right? Like, it's so good. Like, that, for an opening, like, this isn't the first, like, hour of the game, right? And it's all just this crazy thing. So...
Oh, dude, that was so good.
So the way that armor's supposed to work is, if you get shot, they told me basically, this is good against shotguns and pistols, but not against long rifles. Okay? That's kind of hard to RP, because a lot of time if you're getting shot, you don't know what. Yeah, you're not aware of what's hitting.
I guess if you can visibly see they've got a long rifle
but
and they shoot you,
the RP is in... Even if you're wearing body armor and I shoot you in the chest, you're gonna fall back. Right. This is the intention. I don't think all players did that, to be completely honest.
Sure.
Like, I overheard some of the crew saying, I saw such and such, and they didn't even react.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like that, I heard that a couple of times,
Okay.
So there was some of that. But then again, if you're wearing heavy gear...
You don't always feel it, right? You can get caught in the folds of a piece of clothing. Or...
I got hit at one stage, but didn't know where it came from. So it was like was it a ricochet or whatever? And it was really hard to tell what the fuck was going on. So... I can see how it's confusing.
I've had that before, even like going paintballing or something. Sometimes a splatter happens near you.
Yeah,
and you're like, I have to turn to somebody and say, have I been hit? Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, you're fine.
Yeah, so rightfully happy, we head back to town. And that's when...
Do they have loot and anything like that?
Oh, yeah, you're supposed to go up to them and like, you got anything on you? Oh, no, I didn't even finish off what happened in that bit, okay? So Callum and me walk down there and we're like, right, we've got to clear some of these tunnels.
Okay.
Right? We walk around there and I think we shoot another guy who was just kind of hanging out.
Okay.
Well, he was alive and we kind of put a gun to him and we're like, what do you got? And basically he handed over a key.
Okay.
To Callum.
All right.
Who I then started to refer to as Mr. Efficiency.
Okay.
Because everything he did, he just kind of rocked up at the right time.
It had results.
And just succeeded in whatever the obvious story MacGuffin was to move it on to the next bit, So
awesome.
Callum gets the key. We walk upstairs and we go to the bar and like, hey, we found this key. What's it worth? Oh no, we went to the church, I think, first and said, what's it worth? And then they tried to just kind of like, oh, we'll take it as a donation. And we're like, nah. And then... I can't remember, it was either the church or the bar who gave it away as the key to the elevator.
Right.
So then Panda was like,
"That's what
to the bar, you want the key? Me and my friends, we drink here for free tonight or whatever, And they were like, oh, well, we went to a negotiated amount of drinks. None that we were going to drink as many as we actually negotiated, but it was fine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Gave the key over. That's what I mean, though, because we did an action... which meant that we could have free drinks at the bar.
Nice.
So that was kind of like nice, right? It's simple, it's straightforward. You don't have to be frustrated about it. The bar people were made up of the big boss man, who was like a dude with a beard, he was kind of like, he was just a quizzical dude, you know what I mean? Interesting, intelligent, in charge of stuff. Like, he wasn't scared about raiders. He's got things under lockdown, you know?
Was this a big deal that you'd found the key, for example? Was that something that a lot of people were talking about, or was it
I don't know. It was very compartmentalized.
Right.
Because it's dark and you don't really, like, I didn't know many people. People are aware, and it's like anything in LARP, like, people are around and looking, but they didn't speak to me directly about the key. The lift just started working.
Nice.
Right?
Okay.
So after the key started working, the battalion showed up, Ian.
Who are the battalion?
Okay, so remember I was talking about factions in the world. Okay, so there's like the federal, the Federation of Havens, and the Battalion 34 are like the two older ones that have basically been knocking shit out of each other for like a while.
Okay.
And the new mob in town is the People's Welfare Committee.
Okay.
And they came out of nowhere and basically bought up loads and loads of mercenaries.
Okay.
And then they had loads of cash, and then mercenaries just went to work, and basically it's now in a kind of weird stalemate between.
Do they know where that bankrolling came from, or is that all part
They're
of
all
the mystery?
underground and a bit dodgy and a bit communist-y and a bit socialist-y and that was another thing that the Hovel Company did.
Right.
If anyone ever said socialist, everyone spat on the floor. Yeah. So it was just like, And I was like for example, going to the medical place. I'm not too sure about them. They fixed up my wounds without charging me a penny.
Right.
Sounds like socialism to me. And everyone would be like,
so good.
Really funny. I really enjoyed it. So that's when the battalion showed up, and they were like Nazis.
Okay.
Right? They were like uniformed military types who were kind of like really took themselves like they were very seriously and stuff. And we kind of like, so I kind of like sidled up to one of them who was like a well-groomed man with a beard, and I was going, "How's it going, man? You right? You know, like, you cool, man?" And he's going, he's like, step back. I'm, all right, mate, you got orders to carry out, you know what I mean? Like, and like having fun with him. It was a good time, man. Anyway, these guys basically came in and were like trying to pressure the barman into something. Okay, and they were being a bit aggressive and like, we're going to come back, and when we come back,
we want the answer we want, right?
Yeah, whatever that might have been. I think it was. I think they were talking to him at first, and then we were kind of being a bit dickish about it, and then we basically sent them packing. Right.
Okay.
Then the sick people showed up.
The sick people.
So there were people that were kind of like dressed in green rags, and they were like sick people.
And these are dying. NPCs again.
Yeah, again NPCs.
Playing the populace who are sick?
No, they're more like people that have come in from somewhere else and they're kind of just sick. So we kind of like, there's some sort of plague going around that needs a cure.
Okay, right.
So I'm just like, so we help round up some of these sick people and take them to where the elevator is, and we're basically going to boot them out.
Okay.
Well, they're kind of dead anyway.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
And they're sick people, so yeah, we'll get rid of them. And that was pretty much like the gun time that we had on the Friday.
Okay.
So it got to about 10 o'clock at that point, and weapons safe.
Is there an announcement when that happens?
Yeah, everyone kind of walked around and kind of told everyone and said this. Actually, I think it was earlier than that. I think the timeout was actually more like 9-ish. It was earlier than 10. I remember that for sure.
Okay.
So that's when we kind of had a few drinks, and it was pretty good, right? Like, got to kind of hang out at the bar. They had these cool dice games. There's one like Polish lady, I won't say her name because I haven't actually said I can use her name, but she was showing me how to play this dice game. And the idea is that you have a set of dice and you roll them, and you're trying to get a 2 and a 4 and then hold those dice, and then everything else is your points. Okay. Right? Really simple little game. Right. But like kind of fun when you're betting. You know what I mean? Like you bet, I bet your battery.
Is there sort of secretive what you've got?
No, you're like kind of betting against someone else. Okay. And you do it in turns, you know? Okay. I'm bastardizing the rules as usual. But great fun, right? And this is when we kind of came up with the idea of like having like so someone, because me and Callum were talking in kind of Cockney accents, and then he says something about being mugged off, and then we start talking about Danny Dyer.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about him, and then I'm like, did you know if you look into a mirror at midnight and say Danny Dyer 3 times, he will appear and mug you off, right? For those international listeners, Danny Dyer is like a London, like, Essex boy.
He is, like the stereotypical.
Yeah, and he basically made this career as an actor of being kind of like an Essex boy.
Yeah.
And he's a bit of a
Danny Dyer's dodgiest prisons.
Yeah, he's a bit
stuff
of
like that.
He's a thing of joy, to a lot of people. And then we kind of like start doing that, and we start talking about it, like, maybe they're like talking about like the Church of Danny Dyer and things like that.
Okay.
Like, playing around this idea, right? That it's like, he who is without a mug be the first to mug someone off.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? And like weird pseudo-religious teachings.
Always be mugging.
Yeah, no, it's more like the kind of ethos on it was like the idea that like a death cult, right? Where it's like, we accept that life is just going to punish us.
Okay.
But don't mug people off and expect not to be mugged off yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like that sort of vibe, like a religious thing. Anyway, it's good fun.
That was cool.
Oh, we're fun. It was just a bit of
good
fun.
laugh, right?
So going to bed.
Okay.
I was in my little zip-up tent. Woke up in the morning. The entire inside of my tent was wet from my perspiration from my mouth.
Okay.
And I woke up and it's just dark.
Right.
Like you wake up.
Do they have windows? Are they open?
No,
or are they shuttered?
the only place that you can have windows is the smoking section, which is on floor 2 where the toilets are.
Is that like an OC area or? Are
they yes,
OC
that
areas?
area is OC. The toilets, you have to take your clip out the gun and do all that stuff and safety and all that stuff when you're in that area. But really, there wasn't like an out of character. I think there was an out of character chill out area, but I never used it in that way.
Right, sure.
It was simply just to be in and out, and then I was back into the world.
Yeah.
Waking up in darkness and back in that world.
Right.
Like I said, it's a character. It's a strong force on the world, the darkness, and that kind of like what that does to you psychologically.
And it immediately brings you back into the RP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
massively. It's like you're in that world still. Now I woke up, had some hot food, whatever it was, and then the battalion showed up again. Yeah, and they basically...
Before we get into it too deep, did you want to take a break, or do you want to?
We can go for a little bit longer, I think. Let's go for a little bit longer,
and
then we'll maybe take a break, and I can smash through the rest of it.
Okay. So the battalion showed up.
And they were like, they were really pissed off with the barman at this stage. Okay,
right.
So. And there's a lot of harsh words being said. And they're like, we're going to be back in like 2 hours. And he goes, no, we'll be back in 1 hour or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, so then they left. And everyone in the group were like, we're going to set up an ambush.
Yeah.
Like they're going to come back. Everyone likes the barman, right?
Right.
We're going to set up an ambush and we're going to get them when they get back, okay? So our room is, if you came out the elevator, if you go left, you're going to head towards the bar area. If you turn right, that's where our hovel is.
Okay.
The first room to the right, round a corner.
Wow,
Okay? So there's these guys going, we're going to set up an ambush. And we're all sitting there and like, hey, when it's time, let us know and we'll just come with you. And we'll ambush them from behind, stop their exit to the elevator and kill all of them.
Right.
Okay? That's the plan.
So how many people are involved in this?
In that little posse, there was maybe like 7 of us again.
Okay.
Something like that. It's really hard to judge a number. It's dark, dude.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's really hard to tell what the fuck's going on half the time because it's so dim, So we're all sitting there, and then we hear the elevator go.
Okay.
And we're like, let's get fucking tooled up. So we all go there. And we're around this corner. And everyone's like, shut up. And then it's like, we turn the corner, and there's a guy there, and he's wearing a military uniform, but it's not the military uniform of the battalion. It's like a black and green. And we're like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, are you battalion? He's like, I'm not battalion. And I was like, oh, they're not battalion. These guys were an entirely different group of people. I don't think I ever really found out who they were, who had come to kill the Ratniks.
Okay.
The Russians.
Okay.
So we're like, well, this ain't our fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll...
Peace!
Yeah, we're out, right? So we head back. Okay. And then there's a whole firefight goes on between the Russians and these other people that showed up.
Right.
And we're like, what the fuck is going on? And it's so confusing. Like, to enter out into that firefight, you're just going to get shocked because you know what the fuck's going on, who's on what side, like what the Russians look like, whether they recognise what you look like, right. You know what I mean? So we kind of like bunkered up and basically everyone that came past the door, we just went, and they were like, oh, it's not you? All right, cool, fuck off then. Okay, so then, oh man, and then a little while later, the battalion came back.
Okay.
Right. And the barman was there in front of everyone and they're having this conversation. I wasn't there for that because we were waiting for the ambush. Okay. And then there was a big firefight.
Okay. Well, it just kicked off in the
bar.
Bang,
bang, bang, bang, bang, bang. So we head round there. We're like looking at the dudes. We shoot a few battalion guys. You know what I mean? It's this kind of wreck of a firefight.
Right.
And the barman's been shot.
Oh, what?
The barman's been shot. The big boss man's been shot, and he's down, and he's dying, and he's dead, and like his two like
he dies.
Wow. And his like there was like one like character who's called Sniff, who was like all like a she like had a furry thing on and like sniff people, and she was so sweet but kind of dumb and loved the big boss man.
Right.
Her grieving for the boss man, like. My genuine feels kicked in through that scene.
Wow.
It was like really well done. Just like special bit of RP. And it was genuine. The big boss man was awesome and he ran that shit. And these people, like, believably, the characters are there, right? And they're with them, and that's a real thing, you know?
Right,
That's what we...
That sounds amazing.
That's what we love RP for, right? You know, remember I was saying at our first Empire event, I want 1 or 2 immersive events.
Yeah.
This time I wanted 1 or 2 where I shit my pants moments because like...
you kind of went in saying this, it was going to play.
But that was a really immersive moment. You know what I mean? Like that was something...
Sure, and it carries weight through the whole sort of thing, right?
Yeah. And that's where we should end it. We should take a break there. Wow. And then we'll come back.
Big Boss Man's dead.
Big Boss Man's dead. The political landscape is changing within... like Longbridge.
Wow. Doesn't seem to be anything for sale but old junk. Hold on a moment. It can't be.
Morning, folks. Oh, it isn't evening. I lose track down here. Anything on display that takes your interest?
Do you know what this is?
Yeah, it's, well, obviously that's...
It's a missing piece of the key of Anna.
What did you say? How did you know that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I was just testing you.
I'll give you 2 double A's for it.
I'm not sure about that, like.
Wait, I'll give you a throne, 4 crowns, a piece of cheese, and an apple.
An apple? Where'd you get a fucking apple from?
Hold on, I'll give you 10 batteries for it.
Well, 10 batteries is 10
A small hole seems to have appeared on your chest, my good man.
Oh, you bastard.
Get down, raiders!